Hey, this is your girl, Treal, Master Wife Coach and Transformation Scientist, helping you to transform your life from the inside out. Listen, have you ever experienced loneliness even while married? Did you think that that wasn't possible because you did commit to spending the rest of your life with someone and you thought that they would be the cure all and end all to all loneliness that you may experience? Listen, on last week I did part one talking about marriage is not the cure for loneliness. And I asked the question, are you lonely in marriage? So today, part two, I'm going to share with you some remedies of what you can implement immediately to get over the loneliness. Check it out.
Living now. This is living now.
Hey, this is your girl, Treal, Master Wife Coach and Transformation Scientist, helping you to transform your life from the inside out. So we are on part two talking about marriage is not a cure for loneliness. Last week I went in hard. I went in deep and talked about how marriage is not a cure for loneliness. We went over the definition for loneliness. I gave you several scriptures and just several remedies of or several things of what not to do, and I'll just quickly go through them and then we'll go right into things that you can do if you are experiencing loneliness in the marriage. What I want to say, and I said it last week as well, marriage is a covenant established, ordained by God. However, marriage is not the end all be all, nor should you put all of your hope, all of your trusts, all of your desires into that person. The partner that you have selected to do the rest of your life with, yes, they bring benefits to the marriage, but at no time should you be codependent. And that was the number one thing I talked about on last week, that codependency, that excessive emotional or physiological need or reliance on someone else. You'll find yourself plenty days in pure disappointment if you believe that that person can fulfill that satisfaction or that void or whatever it is that you need. And a lot of times, the codependency is a person that's lacking some level of wholeness and completeness and healing. Hence, they're in need of that person. That goes with neediness as well, in need of that person to fulfill that. And the codependency factor, you can be codependent for several different reasons. Both have experienced trauma, both have experienced divorce, both have experienced hurt, similar hurt, both have experienced addiction, both have experienced or experiencing some type of mental health issue. So you really want to be careful with that. I then talked about neediness and being needy and too clingy. And this is what not to do when you are in a place where you're experiencing loneliness. Being needy, clingy, not just to your spouse, but to anybody for that matter. Unresolved insecurities, not identifying or operating in your purpose, entertaining impure thoughts and feelings, entertaining toxic thoughts, or those opposite toxic thoughts and feelings and behaviors and habits. I want to add that to that: behaviors, habits, thoughts, and feelings. Entertaining toxic people or those of the opposite sex, like a work husband, work wife, and isolating yourself. So these are things, and becoming bitter, discontent, or restless was the last one actually. These are what not to do if you're experiencing that level of loneliness. Loneliness gets the best of us. Loneliness does not mean that you are alone. I talked about that on last week. God said that he'll be with you always, even until the end of the world. So even if your spouse is not able to be there for you in the capacity you may need him or her to be there, know that God will be there with you even until the end of the world. And he wants us to totally, completely to depend on him. He is the only person that we should put our all into, and not our spouses. So these are things what to do during this time. If you're experiencing loneliness, maybe you have a husband like mine that's on travel a lot. Maybe you have a wife that's a nurse that works different shifts and she's not there, like how my mom used to work 12-hour shifts and overnight shifts being a nurse. Maybe you have a family now and you have children that your wife or your husband needs to tend to, and that is causing some level of strain on the marriage, and because of that you're experiencing more loneliness than normal. Maybe what your partner has checked out for some reason. Maybe they're dealing with their own issues or problems, or just trying to self-absorb, and maybe they're checked out, so now you're experiencing loneliness. So if that is your story, or if you've been in that place before, or if you see your marriage headed in that direction, these are some things of what you should do during this time. Now, I do want to ask, if you have not subscribed to my channel, you can click right now and just subscribe to my YouTube channel. Videos are posted every week. We also have an amazing community called the Married Couples Who Win Community, and I'll ask that you go and head over there too and be a part of that community, where we share regular tips and nuggets on how to master marriage God's way. So I just want to get that in. Okay, we're back. So these are things that you can do during this time, okay? So number one is you can renew your mind daily. Renew your mind daily. And you have to ask yourself, does my spouse love me? Do they have my best interests at heart? Would they do almost anything for me, right? You can't allow Satan to tell you otherwise. The word of God tells us in Romans 12:1-2, I beseech you therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So we have to renew our mind every single day. That means changing how you think about your marriage, changing how you think about your spouse, changing how you think about your situation. Don't think that they are enjoying being apart from you. Don't think that your marriage is diminishing. Don't think that the love is diminishing. Don't think on all the bad things. We tend to, when we get in certain situations in life, we tend to focus on everything that's wrong instead of everything that's right. And that's a trick of the enemy, because he wants to captivate your mind. He wants you to think about all the bad things. Oh, remember that argument you guys had? Oh, remember, when he wasn't here or she wasn't here last time? Oh, they're not answering the phone. They're not responding to your text, or whatever the case may be. He turns every situation into a bad, explosive situation, and want your mind to go off and wonder and feel as if your partner is not there for you. And that's just not the case. It's just not true. It's just not true. I want to read this in the translation, the Passion Translation version. It says, "Beloved friends, what should be our proper response to God's marvelous mercies? I encourage you to surrender yourselves to God, to be his sacred living sacrifices, and to live in holiness, experiencing all that delights his heart. For this becomes your genuine expression of worship. Stop intimidating your ideals and opinions of the culture around you, but be inwardly transformed by the Holy Spirit through a total reformation of how you think. This will empower you to discern God's will as you live a beautiful life, satisfying and perfecting his eyes." So again, renew your mind. Number two, you have to recall God's position in your life. God is your Jehovah Shammah. What does that mean? Or Shammah, Shammah. That means that he is there. He is with you always. He will never leave you. He will never discredit you. He will never make you feel isolated or make you feel lonely. That's not his responsibility. God is saying that, hey, I am Jehovah Shammah. I am always here. And he also is your Jehovah Nisi. That means he is your banner. He is your covering. He is surrounding you. So even when you're feeling like, okay, I am by myself, my spouse is not here, or they are here and I'm still experiencing loneliness, I'm still experiencing or feeling as if I'm doing this marriage all by myself, like I'm the only one that's in it to win it, I'm the only one that's trying to make things work. God is reminding you that he is your Jehovah Nisi. He is your Jehovah, your banner, your covering. He is surrounding you. Just like in Ezekiel chapter 48 verses 35, it says, "The distance around the city will be 6 miles, and from that day the name of the city will be the Lord is there." The Lord was with Israel in battle, and he is with you too, through your battle of loneliness, through your battles of insecurity, through your battles of anxiety, through your battles of depression. And the reason why I mentioned those things is if you end up in a prolonged state of loneliness, it could eventually put you in a place of anxiety and depression, and that's what we want to avoid. So if you're experiencing those feelings of loneliness now, these are things that you can do now to prevent going into a place of anxiety, depression, or fear, or suicide ideation, or all of those things that come with that. Okay, so know that the Lord is there. He is your banner. Number 3, strengthen your God relationship. Strengthen your God relationship. So during this time, even if your spouse is there and you're experiencing loneliness, or if they're not there and you're experiencing prolonged or just excessive loneliness, know that your relationship with God is the number one relationship. That's the most important relationship, and you should strengthen that relationship. How do you do that? By spending time with Him every single day, by spending time in the Word every single day. Now, I'm not saying this has to be 5 hours, 10 hours, or hours in general. This is just time spent with God, time spent in His presence, time spent with His Word, Him, allowing Him to speak to you, allowing Him to speak to your heart, allowing Him to comfort you, allowing Him to be there for you. John 15 verses 1 through 5. It talks about the vine. I'm just going to read it. It talks about the vine. It says, I am the vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes, so that it will be more fruitful, even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I also in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself, but it must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. But if you remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away. But if you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done unto you. So this is just a reminder. John is reminding us that we are the branches, that God is the vine, and that we are the branches. And as long as we stay connected with Him, He will stay connected with us. And that alone can cure your experiences and feelings of loneliness. And I told you on last week that you're never alone. Even though some loneliness may be there, you are never alone. And God just continues to remind us of that over and over and over again. Okay, number 4, purpose. Identify your purpose and go hard in walking in your purpose. You do not need to change anything. All you need to do is walk in your purpose. Understand, okay, God, this is what you've created me to do. This is what you have called me to do. You not doing anything will not change anything. You not doing anything, when you're not doing this by walking in your purpose and your assignment, it won't change anything. So here you are, you may be experiencing loneliness. Now you're experiencing, a life of hopelessness and helplessness because you don't know what you've been called to do. So at this time, you're not finding your purpose because it was never lost. You're asking God, Lord, show me what you have called me to do. Show me who you've called me to become. Show me who you've called me to reach. Show me who you've called me to minister. Show me who you've called me to lead. Show me who you've called me to be an influence over, because all of us operate in that capacity to some degree or another. We are all ambassadors of Christ. If you're a believer, you are an ambassador, and you have a responsibility to then go out and reach other people. Ecclesiastes 9:10 says, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all might, do it with all diligence, do it with all consistency, do it with all faith. For the realm of the dead, where you are going eventually, there is neither working nor planning nor knowledge or nor wisdom. So if you feel like you don't want to do your purpose, so you don't want to walk in that place, you might as well go ahead and die. That's what the word says. It says, whatever your hands find to do, do it. But if you don't do it, you might as well be dead. And you can just go ahead and go to heaven at this point. So I'm sure none of you want to do that at this junction of your life or at this stage of your life. So identify what God has created you to do by asking Him, by prayer. When you're getting closer to Him and you're getting strengthened in Him, in your prayer time, you're asking Him. You're asking Him to reveal it to you, to identify it to you, to send people around you to encourage you, and to also confirm what He has already placed in you. Okay? The next one is stay pure and kept. God says, He will keep you if you want to be kept. He will keep you in perfect peace if your mind is stayed on Him. If you trust in the Lord with your heart, all of your heart, lean not to your own understanding. Oh, why is this going on? Why is this happening? Why am I lonely? Why my marriage is not going this way? Why are we not far ahead? Why? If you keep your mind on Him, if you continue to trust in Him, He will keep you pure and kept. So you don't have to worry about, having an affair, or your spouse having an affair, entertaining the wrong relationships, toxicity, or anything like that, because you're staying pure and kept, and God keeps His promise to you. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20 says, don't you realize that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you? It was given to you by God. You do not belong to yourself, for God brought you with a high price, so you must honor him with your body. Honor him with your body by what you do with it, by what you put in it. You know, Jim Rohn says that you only get one, your body is the only place that you get to live. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. So take care of it. This is the only place that you get to live, is in your body. So what should you be doing with your body? So not only should you be kept and not do anything that's sexually immoral with your body, but also you should be exercising. You should be eating right. You should be doing things that's taking care of the temple that God has allowed you to govern over during this time of your life. Okay. The next one is get a life. Get a life. I don't know how many times I can say this. I wrote about this in my book, Wives Who Win, because I see so many wives surround their life, their whole being, their whole everything around their husbands, and husbands do it too. Get a life. God made us relationally, and whether you are married or not, you need others. You know, I talk about that in my book that's launching January 1st, In It to Win It. You need other people. I talk about nurturing other relationships, other horizontal relationships that God has placed in your life, your parents, your siblings, your friends, your family, right? You have to nurture those other relationships. The worst thing you can do is isolate yourself during this time. Get by yourself. Start thinking about everything that's wrong. Start thinking about your loneliness and all of those other things, and you'll be in a very bad state. But what I want you to think about is, what goals do you want to accomplish? You know, how can you hang out more with your girlfriends or your boyfriends if you are a male, your guy friends, and other family members, right? Is this the time for you to go back to school, to get certified, to gain a trade or new skill, to open up a side business, to write a book? What is this purpose? What should you be doing? In this time, in this stage of your life, right? What should you be doing? Who knows? You know, the separation may be there, the loneliness may be there because you put all of your trust, your hope, and your everything in your spouse. And God is saying, hey, I have this for you to do. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And he or she is a mere distraction. I would admonish you, do not allow your spouse to become a distraction, because God cannot operate in that place, and you will only find yourself continuing to dwindle, and losing yourself within yourself. Okay. The next one is self-care. Are you taking time to love on you? You're so concerned about your spouse. You're so concerned about being lonely, but are you taking time to love on you? You know, are you getting your hair done if that's something you desire to do and can afford it? Are you getting your manicures and your pedicures if that's something you can afford and you desire to do? Are you finding out who you are? Are you falling in love with you? You know, it is hard to love someone else if you don't express the love towards yourself. If you don't know how to love yourself and you don't know how to be whole and complete within yourself, I guarantee you, your spouse is not going to be able to do that. That is not their responsibility, nor do they have the capacity to do that. Self-care, that can be you walking around the block. That can be you walking around your park in your closest neighborhood, just going out there and just taking a breeze. That can be exercising. That can be so many things. It doesn't have to cost a thing. It's basically you taking time for yourself, with yourself, to love on yourself. You taking time for yourself, with yourself, to love on yourself, and not having any stress or anything distract you or to interfere with that time. What is your thing? Find out what your thing is. And the last one, but definitely not least, my tongues are tied, you guys. Make the time together special and lasting. So when you do get to time with your spouse, make that time special and lasting. Don't focus on when you're apart, but maximize the time when you're together. Don't take that time out to talk about things that was on your heart and your mind because you're so upset and you're so mad because you're so separated and they seem like they shut down. Don't take the time. Don't take that time to do that. Take that time just to love on one another and to enjoy one another in the moment. And in due time, you can share your feelings. In due time, you can share, how things have affected you personally. But make sure in your sharing that you're not coming off or coming from a place of hurt and broken because there are things that you're dealing with from your past, and now you wish or need your spouse to compensate or overcompensate for those things. So there's a thin line with that. So you have to check your emotions at the door. You have to check your heart at the door, and making sure when you do address certain areas of concern, it's not for the mere fact because you are needy or codependent or still experiencing a level of brokenness, but you are addressing these things because it needs to be addressed and the marriage needs to grow and nurture from this point forward. So that's my time, you guys. Thank you so much for watching Please make sure you subscribe to the video. Please share this video. If you're not experiencing loneliness, or you've never you've never experienced this, maybe you know someone that has. So I ask you to share this video with them, spread it across your social media channel, and so people can know that there's help available to them. I don't want anybody to feel like they're out here in this world called life, or in this place called life, I guess I should say, on their own, trying to figure it out on their own. You know, you have people, you have resources, you have tools that are available to you, and this is simply a tool to help couples to be able to master marriage God's way. So until next time, Lord, listen, I'm all twisted and tied. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm just going to let you know. But until next time, I will see you soon. You all have a blessed and beautiful week. Bye.
Your love